And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. We've been doing a little data mining, trying to dig up some of the best of your viewer comments, and we're ready to go. First up, we have a comment about the Iran deal from Ray, who says, the problem with the deal is it doesn't seem anyone has any information. Plus, there are no people left in Washington who listen to the majority of people. Only money talks, and unless you're writing the check directly to the so-called representative, your word means nothing. He's got a point there, guys.
He does. Look, the truth is, the majority of Americans oppose this deal.
Well, I got to interrupt you on that, because yesterday I said the very same thing. There was a poll out that showed 55%. And yet today there's a university poll out that says the opposite.
Yeah, I tend not to believe it, because consistently the numbers have shown about 55% opposed, about 30% in favor, and about 15% who say, I don't really know. So I want to see more points that say to the opposite, because we've been on this other trajectory pretty much straight through, and it is a little bit weird, especially if the president's advocating to have a filibuster.
Isn't this, though, the very kind of thing, Noah, just quickly, where because this is so hard for people to understand, including me, and I do this for a living, I read these things, don't we have to look to our representatives to maybe listen less to us and more to the experts that are telling them what's going on?
Well, they were promised, for example, by this administration, all the information related to this deal. We find out that the IAEA had been conducting side agreements with Iran. Right. They weren't provided all the information. So we have a Congress that is essentially being misled or not properly informed and is really going on gut instinct. I think the American public are, and to be fair, there's a lot of money behind the opposition to this deal. But if the Congress were a little bit more in tune to what the general public has been saying about this, and I think that you're right, that there's been a general trend, we know what that trend is, that they would be in a much better position than I think they're going to be in a couple of years. This thing's going to sail through, and we'll regret it.
I take both of your points. My only point would be sometimes the public, not being experts in physics and nuclear physics, don't know. Let me go on to another one. Do we have another one there to see? Yeah, we have some comments on some of the interesting immigration plans we discussed on the show yesterday. Here's one from Carrie, who says, I don't think we need to tag people who come to the U.S. like FedEx. Why can't we have a passport checkpoint in every town like at the post office and have the passport be mandatory to check in at every stopping place or once a month? Shirley adds to that, shades of George Orwell, tagging people. When do these absurd ideas stop? When does the U.S. military take over and track everything we do? Think it won't happen? It already started. What kind of crazy people do we have running for office? I have not seen one person that I would vote for. Guys, they're not happy with Chris Christie's idea, are they?
I think they're not happy with Chris Christie in general. If we're going to talk about George Orwell, I would say internal passports along the lines of the Soviet Union are just a little bit more Orwellian than what Chris Christie is talking about, which, by the way, we don't know. We're putting a lot of words in his mouth. He didn't elaborate on this. He didn't say subcutaneous GPS chips. We're putting those words in his mouth. So I don't think it's really fair for us to be judging him based on our own presumptions of what he's talking about.
Look, but he did take us down that road.
Yeah, I'm all for giving him the benefit of the doubt. I love the man who describes himself as smooth as sandpaper. I think that's a real charming thing, but he meant something a little creepy here. Whatever it was, we don't know. We should ask another question.
It was a Hail Mary pass, and it didn't quite work.
He's looking for a moment, and hasn't
happened.
And
we'll add one more to that. Irene says when they come over illegally, they should not receive aid and driver's licenses, and they should not vote. I'm not sure anybody said they should. Jeff says fingerprints of every person entering our country and every person in our country should also have a photo ID. Problem solved. Not so much when you're talking about somebody who's here illegally when their visa expires. Also, voter fraud, problem solved. That's a much longer discussion. And Tim says they do not need to round up illegals. They can just do what they do now with warrants. You just send them home when they are picked up for something. If you stop them from coming in and then start sending them back when they are picked up for any reason, it will only take 5 to 7 years to make a big difference. Actually, that last comment I find interesting, because some of the more rational people who do have strong anti-illegal immigration opinions are now suggesting this, that instead of this, we're going to send home 11 million or maybe more people by rounding them up. When you do arrest somebody or pick somebody up and they don't meet the test, that's when you send them.
And if you break the law and this isn't your home, you're going back to what your legal home is. That doesn't sound so crazy.
It doesn't, but you are entitled to due process, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about stopping due process unless we want to have the debate about whether or not we get rid of court dates for illegal immigrants.
No, I agree with that, but the automatic response, if you are found guilty, is this isn't your home, you're going home.
Okay. What else? We've been asking you for your choice for the 2016 presidential nomination. Some of you are saying that you pick Ben Carson. One commenter here says Trump has a narcissistic personality and would be a danger to anyone or any leader who thwarts him. He could start a nuclear war if he doesn't get his way. All right, let's go to the end here, please. And we had a lot more comments. We're just not going to get to them. So I'll just tell you this. Remember, if you want to weigh in on any of these issues we talk about here on the show, be sure to go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know what you think. Remember to get your copy of Ben Carson's book, One Nation. It's up on the screen. Follow that phone number and go to that internet address and you can pick up the book. We will be right back for Yay or Nay. This is the Daily Wrap.